Welcome everybody to Miniature Reenactments. Today we're starting the Battle of Gettysburg with the morning of the first day, July 1st, 1863. The story begins north of the town. Robert E. Lee was moving the Confederate forces through Pennsylvania in an attempt to cut off Washington, distract Union forces from moving on more important targets, and to scare the population into ending the war. They had bypassed Gettysburg, one division commander even stopping briefly to hold the town for ransom, and had moved on. One division commander, Henry Heth, whom General Lee referred to by his first name, Harry, heard rumor that there were some supplies in Gettysburg that they could take, specifically shoes, of which their men badly needed because of their constant marching. He sent a brigade to go loot the town, but they found some resistance. Thinking they were just militia, Heth sent one more brigade with them to clear it out of the way. They ran into the enemy forces at 7:30 a.m. on the morning of the 1st. After a little fighting, they found that it wasn't militia, but dismounted cavalry under the command of General John Buford, who had ironically been a classmate of Heth's at West Point. Also, Buford's father had served with Robert E. Lee's father in the American Revolution. Buford studied under John Watts de Peyster, who encouraged new tactics be adopted with the rise in technology, saying skirmish lines and the use of terrain for cover would be more effective. Buford now used those tactics to great effect, his men firing down at the oncoming Confederates from behind wood fences and trees. Buford's men were also using new breech-loading carbines, which made firing quicker and easier. They shot down a lot of the men coming at them, but Heth's brigades managed to get to the dismounted cavalry on McPherson's Ridge. On the north side, they clashed with them at an unfinished railroad cut into the ridge where the Confederates gained some success, but were repulsed. On the southern flank, they did a little better, repulsing the dismounted cavalry, but running straight into the vanguard of the Union infantry now rushing to the field. The brigade they ran into was the Iron Brigade, a unit which got its name and reputation from standing and fighting even against incredible odds. They got their name at another battle, Antietam, where the head general, McClellan, said that they must be made of iron. These men from western states wore special top hats as a designation of who they were. Because of their tenacity and willingness to meet the enemy under any circumstances, they took the largest number of casualties of any Union brigade in the war. They now showed that fighting spirit as they broke the southern half of the Confederate advance, capturing the brigade commander as they did. The rest of their corps was hurrying up a road behind them, marching through the town's arch. Ironically, this arch had a sign which read, "Anyone found using firearms on these grounds will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law." One of the casualties in this early fighting was General John Reynolds. Rushing his corps into the battle to save the dismounted cavalry, Reynolds had been directing the men into place when a stray bullet took him down. He was widely considered one of the best generals of the Union, and his loss was a bad omen for the Federal Army. Taking his place was Abner Doubleday, the man who was credited with inventing baseball, though he actually had little to do with the creation of the sport. Union morale was further hampered with the reinforcements of Heth's other two brigades. Hurrying up behind the first two brigades, the combined division now pressed hard on the remnants of Reynolds' corps and Buford's cavalry. One of the regiments that came at them, the 26th North Carolina, started the battle as the largest regiment in the Army, with 839 men. By the end of the first day, they had 212 men. By the end of the battle, there were only 152 men left, the largest casualties for a single battle of any regiment, north or south, during the entire war. Close to noon, General A.P. Hill, commanding the Confederate Corps, arrived on the field. He sent a division under General Pender to reinforce the already engaged Heth. Pender had 4 brigades, which were enough to apply the needed pressure against the Federals, who slowly but surely began to break. The Confederates found a way to flank the Federals, and the Iron Brigade pulled back to the town, where men of almost every other unit were fleeing through the streets for their lives. Coming up the road from the other side was the 11th Corps under General Oliver Howard. It was now past noon, and as forces from both sides rushed into place, the Battle of Gettysburg was in full swing. This concludes the first episode of the Battle of Gettysburg. Join us next time when we look at the second half of the first day as reinforcements of both sides struggle for the town and the hills beyond. Thank you for watching.